Hey YouTube, so today it is Wednesday. We did a market breakdown on Monday, so now we're going to just run through what has happened in the past 2 days. So we're going to see how our analysis played out. So I've kept my drawings there since last week, since Monday. So we're going to see how the market has reacted and if our predictions were correct. And so far, so good. It's looking perfect. I did tell you guys on Monday that I was bearish on most pairs, or on all the pairs that I ran through, which was GBP, JPY, gold, and Euro USD. So before we waste any time, make sure to watch this video till the end so you can get the most value out of this video, because you don't want to miss anything, because everything that I'm going to say does come with value and you can learn a lot from this video. Because I was once in your shoes. Let's say you're a beginner trader or intermediate trader. Even when I was an intermediate trader, I was still learning every day when trading, because it was just someone that showed me something. Maybe it was a new tool, maybe it was just a new drawing tool, a new pattern style. And there's just so much things I added to, my inventory when, becoming a trader and just in my journey. So let's not waste any more time. Just remember, so I'm going to jump onto the news, which is on forexfactory.com. So if you want to see any news, if you are a news trader, obviously you would know about this, but some people, maybe they're not a news trader, but most of them, they don't necessarily trade the news, but it's something to pay attention to if you enter a position. So before you enter in a position, make sure you check, okay, am I trading the pair? Is it going to be volatile? Is the folder red? Is it orange? Is it going to be a big, significant news folder? So these are all things you need to pay attention to before entering a trade and before exiting a trade. So we do notice that we have two red folders, right? So one at 5:15, obviously I'm in the buy time, and then we have one at 7 p.m. So non-farm employment change, it looks like it's going to be quite negative today. And we got ISM service PMI. It's looking like it's more or less going to be the same. So I'd say between 5 o'clock and after 7 o'clock, this is going to be quite a volatile range to trade in. So if you're taking trades between these times, just be cautious. Doesn't mean you don't have to trade. Right, before we waste any more time on the news, you guys can look at this, forexfactory.com, and then just check it for yourself and check when the times align for your time zone. So it's important. All right, so we're going to jump into gold. Obviously, my most exciting pair. I love trading gold, so this is why I show you guys. I start with gold first, and we're going to move into Euro USD. So, moved on to gold, and I drew this pattern, the head and shoulders pattern, in my group. This is on the daily, so this is important because I sent this on my free Telegram group, and a lot of people actually messaged me and said, how did you draw this? Where did it come from? And how did you identify this pattern? So I'm not just going to say, oh yeah, because I've been trading for years and this is why, but no, because this is a head and shoulders pattern. So I'll draw this out for you as well. You guys can see this on the chart, so we'll still delete that. We still kept most of our drawings from last time because the price is fluctuating within our ranges, so that's fine. So we're going to go over here. You will have your tools tab, and we click, you'll see it, and if you hover next to it, it says patterns, right? And here you got all your patterns over here. And then the head and shoulders one is what I use quite frequently. But head and shoulders pattern I generally use on higher time frames if I notice a pattern, because they tend to play out more frequently. So you would have your left shoulder, you'd have your head, which is the top, and you will start seeing this line, which is pretty cool. You have your right shoulder, which will be this one. I'll just adjust that. And where I think price is going to go next, I think you're going to dump all the way below here, which is my prediction. I'm just going to move like this. It's a little bit neater. So that's how you draw your head and shoulders pattern. Your head and shoulders pattern you can draw on pretty much any single chart or any single time frame, and to see if it correlates. You would have, your left shoulder and your right shoulder, they would have more or less the same resistance, and your head will be the most top point. So you have this will be act as your resistance. Let me just draw this across for you. 1 second, let me get my drawing tool. So this would act as your resistance, and basically what price has done, it's respected off the left shoulder, which is left previous resistance, right previous resistance, and we've bounced off that and we pushed the downside. So this is a bearish head and shoulders pattern, just for you to know. So I did send this to my group and we played out perfectly. I've only sent sells in my group. So we're going to break it down into, so we know what the overall direction for the daily is. How can we take advantage on the 1 hour? So let's break it down on the 1 hour. So I'm just going to remove this pattern because it adds a bit too much noise to our charts. So that's fine. Let me just do something like that. That's great. So we just marked up our previous day high and our previous day low. And we can see pretty much during this, since 28th of October, so for more or less like a week, we bounced between this price range of 4040 and 3891. So total move of, let's get this, so bouncing between basically more or less $140, which is quite a lot in terms of gold. But how can we take advantage? When am I expecting to take my next sell? So for me personally, I'm waiting for price. This is all I want to see price do over here. So price playing out, you can see that we just basically consolidated within a big range over here. Bounce, 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 bounce. Nothing too significant. So what I expect price to do in the short term, bounce up here, tap into this level of resistance, break us back down, fill this range, come down here at least to a minimum, and then we come down into this range because I identified, so what I'm expecting price to do is sometime this week or even today could break this range, could come into this next range, and then we start bounce between here, and then for us to slowly move forward. That was an extended one. But I do expect price to break down all the way down to these levels, sometime. Could happen this week. It could happen with the news today. So just something that we need to pay attention to. Always on the lookout for that. So that's where I expect price. Let me just fix my arrow there. That's where I expect price to come down overall and bounce in between these range on gold. So guys, just to break down the Euro USD chart and the USD trade that we took on Monday, and why I said I was bearish is because I saw that price was going to push down to these levels, which is a nearest level of support. Now, how we were going to get there? I drew these blue arrows and these blue lines over here to see how direction is going to play out. Now you can see what happened here. We try to push up, grab liquidity at these resistance levels, and which was our previous month's low. So what we will expect the price to do first, tap into these levels, grab some sort of liquidity before heading down to, our lows. But that didn't quite happen. We didn't tap into these levels. You can see that we bounced, respected here. You see this acted as a nice level of resistance. So what we see, we tapped, couldn't break above, didn't close above on the 1 hour. And what ended up happening is we started breaking, closing below. So we just created new lower lows, lower highs, and we created a bearish structure to the downside. Now, where do I expect price to go? The same as what I said on Monday. I expect price to come down to these levels. My phone's in the way there. So where do I expect price to come down? I expect price to come down to the 1.14039 levels. Either can happen today because it is trading with the USD pair. So we can see price rejecting. I think my prediction is going to be that the dollar is going to get stronger, and then prices, gold assets will drop, Euro USD is going to drop. This is what's going to end up happening in the market. We obviously saw gold push to all-time highs, just to go back on this. You guys know where the price is at the moment, not to go back to that, but we're currently trading at 1.4904, and this is where I expect price to go. I expect us to have some sort of chop coming between here, consolidation just before the news events. So what I'm expecting for today's outcome, just based on how price is reacting, I think we're going to consolidate on most of the pairs that's traded with the USD. And once the news hits, I think Euro USD is going to drop, and I think gold is going to drop as well with it. But that's my prediction for today. That's my thoughts and analysis. So I hope you guys found some value in this video. If you did, make sure to smash that subscribe button. drop a like and put on your notifications so you don't miss any videos. I'll be doing this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you can get an analysis and breakdown for the entire week. On the Monday, we'll kind of outline where we're going to be in the markets. On the Wednesday, we'll recap on what happened on the Monday and the Tuesday. And the Friday, we just tied the whole week together. So you're not missing out on everything. And if you want to get access to, obviously, my free group, the link is down below. So access to my free group where I talk about more chart analysis and more daily updates so that you don't miss anything. Till the next video, guys. Thanks for watching.